Pim, pim, pim. Hello, everybody. Wow, you've been missing me. Greetings to another podcast. Well, another live stream of the CM Kozman channel. I'm really happy to be back with my lovely, limited but based group of friends. I'm really happy and blessed to join you all here, all 8 of you. Just don't, lol says, I am so excited for some reason. Gaja says, my favorite Turkish guy. Munk says, he or she loves my content and my books. Thank you. Mikin says, hello, everyone. I hope you're having a great day. Thank you. Clam James, hello. Blake Richardson says, hey, 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 with lots of smileys. YouTube Joseph WM, hello. Less irritating, hello, hello, hello. Polyps Conglomeration says hello. Mehmet Güzeldem says hi, everyone. Less IRR is walking outside and listening to me. Well, why don't you all get settled in? Why don't you call all your friends, all your whatever you have on those new Discords and stuff. Get everyone. 17 people watching. Thank you. I need to see more bodies in this room because I want it to be more crowded. And I'm also going to set up my little drawing ding dang dong system. And as you remember, I had difficulty setting that up on YouTube, but then we miraculously found a way to make it work. And why don't you get comfortable? Why don't you get cozy? And we get started. Stupid All Tomorrow's fan is currently burning the moon. Well, let us know how you managed that. While you wait, and while I get the camera system set up, I'm going to show you I have been. So how is the summer going? Somebody asked, and this is how it's going. I have been collecting isopods and other invertebrates wherever I go these days. Wherever I go. So I got this little terrarium with the big isopods. Boom. Here they are. There's also lots of fruit there. But this is a local species. I don't know what the scientific name is. This is a local species. I really like these things. So this is just a lazy one. This one is just about to molt, but these things have these lovely sulfur-colored spots all over their body. And so they're all in these boxes full of rotting fruit and shit. I love it. But that's not all. Recently, I also visited a little seashore village near where I lived, and this is called Anadolu Kavağı. And I got a gang from Anadolu Kavağı, the Anadolu Kavağı gang. Of course, there are air holes. Yes, I have been asked by a member of the congregation saying, "Do you have air holes?" Of course. And this is the gang. Well, the gang consists of another form of isopod that's very fast and they can't roll into a ball. I don't want to hurt them, but I'll get one out for you. Come here. So this is one of the gang members. They're flatter, they got longer antenna, and they're faster. So that's the gang. Just going to put it in. These guys are very fragile and okay. This location also was home to. Okay, so this is one. If you live in the Mediterranean, this is one thing you can flex on. You can flex on your American friends. The Mediterranean world is home to these tiny snails. Look at the antenna and the little foot there. It's trying to get out. It's looking around. These things are called clousilids. It's CLAUSLIID. Clousilid snails. Look at it trying to like get down from its shell. They're these like tiny minaret-shaped land snails. These things live in the old world and for some reason never in North America. So here are some things you got in North America. Micro Center, Culver's Burger, Joe Biden. Okay, you got some nice things up there. You got Amazon.com. You got all these amazing fans, these incredible people I really love and wish to meet one day. So you got those, but you don't have the clousilids. They're an old world thing. So this is the Anadolu Kava gang. But there is more. I was also walking past some garbage bins and I noticed these local millipedes. Let's see how they are doing. Okay, there's one there. Here's one. So these are all over the place. Literally, you can find them on your doorstep. In fact, in a weird way, they're more common in urban locations because these urban locations are full of cats and people always leave cat food out for their cats. And as the cat food decays and the cats shit all over the place, these millipedes literally have a feast and they're very common. Let's see how. It's like licking a battery coated with chemicals. I like that. Kotobuki says, Sir Cosman, can I become a creature in your vivariums? Promise I won't cause trouble. Well, that privilege is only due to certain people. In this millipede gang, I also have this rare, considerably rare scavenger snail. Look at him go. And it has this nice P-type shell that's like almost translucent. And it's a very active form of snail. I like this thing. It's not good practice to let these things crawl on my hands because, well, they can be adversely affected from my sweat. But look at him go. Look at the snail go. It's really nice, really cute. And it's got a long body too. So there's this terrarium. So this terrarium is home to 2 millipedes, this snail. There's also a glass snail, which is also very rare. And here's the glass snail. It does not look like much, but it's beautiful when it's alive and stuff. There's also a couple of clousilids here, and for some reason there's a bunch of these tiny white slow-moving mites in this thing. They just had a population explosion. I don't know why, but that's one of the joys of like cultivating animals among rotting detritus. Oh, I also pick up the soil from like local sources and I mix it in equal parts with natural potting soil, and I collect dead leaves and moss and I wash them and put them here. I also include some like banana tree leaf shreddings, these things like them. I'm not really that careful about contamination. I mean, these things live among shit, and they live in urban environments, so I think they can take a little hassle. But that's not all. I also like, so these 3 terrariums, they're new. They're my new summer infatuation. Big isopods, millipedes, and Anadolu Kava gang. But I also have this box, which life has been going inside this for 2.5 years now. Cauliflower says, greetings from Aksaray. Do they do well in room temperature, asks Kotobuki. Well, they live outside, so they do well in room temperature. So this box, life has been going inside this box, thriving for 2.5 years. And even algae started growing on the lid, and it has air holes too. So this habitat, I call this Jurassic Park, is full of these mid-size isopods. I think you can see some here. They're a different third species, so they're not like the sulfur spot ones or the flat fuckers. So we have these medium-sized isopods. We have these closilid snails again. So here, there's actually a tiny baby isopod crawling on this, so I'm just gonna be really careful with it. Yeah. And I don't want to disturb them too much, but there are also landwinkles in here somewhere, which are these like very strange, fat, tiny elephant type snails. They look like snails, but they're different from most land snails. There's no way I can find them in this mess because it's just like everything here has been decaying naturally for 2.5 years. Can you believe it? And yeah, there's all these fruit flies and stuff, but they don't hurt none. So there's that. Does it smell? Says just don't. Well, that's the thing. You see, I've been blind to smell since birth, so I don't give a fuck. And if anybody is disturbed by this smell, they don't deserve me or my snails. So, okay, I was going to set up the camera. Let me set up the camera. Kotobuki says, dropping bars, yeah. Blake Richardson says, I like the color of that snail. Okay, 30 people watching. Prepare your questions, and let's talk about them while I set the camera rig. Dere boyu kavaklar, dere boyu kavaklar, ne 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 ne. "30 people watching," and Gnome's Child says, "Whoa, it's a big child. It's a big stream tonight, huh?" Well, you could say that. Let's check some messages. Okay, let's set this thing up first. Okay, I got a nice gift for you, actually. Wait. So share screen window. Boom. Yeah. I got a nice gift for you. So I have this thing, which is it's a kind of like toddler's iPad simulation kind of thing. I think it's the last electronic device that anybody can afford in this part of the world. These are literally like $3. It's just one giant LCD cell, okay, like so. And I got this light to add extra illumination, but I don't think it works. So let's just toss it away. Okay. So this thing is gorgeous. It just has a little baby's pen. I think these were marketed as like literal kids' toys. They had like a kind of rainbow colored screen with plastic animals and shit on it. But then they realized that maybe others could draw on them too. So they're actually really cool. Let me just do this. They're really cool. I mean, you can just draw anything on this, you know. Let me draw an isopod for you, actually, since we've been looking at isopods. So it's incredible. You can just draw infinitely. And with a little patience, you can actually do far more. Stupid Old Tomorrow's fan says, this is so good. Well, thank you. Okay, so the cool thing about this is that it's ephemeral. Like if I push this button, it disappears. But I can take my camera and wait. Okay, so this is my little camera here. Chat. So I got this as an image. I captured it. I can later take this in Photoshop and edit it and clean it and get some really incredible results. And boom, you can just press start and start drawing again. It's incredibly effective. Actually, I have been sharing some test results. Let me drag them up and just a second now. Let me drag them up and share those images with you. Like, you will not believe they were done with this thing, okay? So that's the best thing. All Tomorrow's fan says, wow, 32 people. You guys really missed me. All right. So now we're going to see some results from this thing, okay? Just a second. So this is what the images look like, all right? This is just like one of the things I drew. Now, if I just take the photos with my camera and literally edit it for 2 seconds in Photoshop, you get something like this. Incredible. Incredible. Chara Cruising says, have a nice one, Kozumen Abi. Like, this image you see in the background literally took me like 50 seconds from like drawing to conversion. Okay, maybe 2 minutes, because so I really recommend this technique. King Kamishiro says snail. Thank you. Stupid All Tomorrow's fan says, I had fire for breakfast yesterday. Look, this is all great, and I value like nonsense jokes and creativity, but also there's like almost 40 people in the chat. Little cat in the corner. Oh, well, there's much more. Let's see. There's also a snake in the other corner, but I don't know if... Oh, wait. I don't know. This is so gorgeous. Like, you print this out. You print this out as like a A5 type of print, or you can also use that as a basis for silk screens, or you could have some high quality prints made out of this, and it's like something 1920s artists would do. So let me share some more. Let me share some more stuff with you using this kids pad technique. So here's another one. Yep. Now just take a look at this now. Whoa. Pixel Platypus says, hello. How did you add the texture, said Faust Morning? It's just some screen tone brush I use on Photoshop. Go look for screen tone brushes. And 36 people. Okay, while I draw something on my tablet now, let's have a roll call from everybody in the chat. Which part of the world are you from? Let me know in the comments. And yeah. And let me draw, I don't know. Once again, like there's no thought now. There's just... I'm just drawing things. Great Guardian. Oh my God. All my friends from all over the world. This brings me tears of joy. All Tomorrow's fam from Michigan. Blake Richardson, also from Michigan. You two should meet. You should have a Kozeman Apostles meeting. Plan for the day when I finally make it there. Great Guardian from Pennsylvania, one of my favorite states. Polyps conglomeration is from North America. I don't get the sad face you do there, but okay. Kapovoid from Ankara. Mudbug. You haven't commented. Welcome to the channel. You haven't commented in a while. From Texas, but in Mississippi. Bob Newman from Texas. Hello to the Lone Star State. Clam James is from Ireland. Munk is from Bitlis. Mikin says cooking. Some scrambled eggs in Bratislava, Slovakia. Okay. Ordradu Najarip from Colombia. Nice. Which city? T is from Diyarbakir. Giosan, greetings from Cali. King Kamishiro from Oregon. Oh, it must be nice and cool and brisk summer there. Hayden from California. Dan McAleer from Scotland. Popular is also from California. Okay. Well, the tablet is a bit blurred. It is really blurred. There's no getting around it. It just comes out like this. And, well, you just have to live around it. This camera is also a bit blurry, but yeah. Just Don't is from the UK. Absent fish is from Colchester, UK, close to the UFO encounter place. Look up the Colchester UFO encounter if you haven't. It's a very interesting, very weird event. The best thing about this technique is that there's no eraser, there's no undo button. So if you make a mistake, you have to turn it into a feature. It's a tiny girl riding a snail. Since this girl is so tiny, let's give her some fairy wings. Let's also give her some boring Mormon skirt. Well, this has become overkill now. But yeah, that's the thing. You're not even wasting energy with this thing. It's just one mode. Let me take a photo of this now. If you donate to me on Patreon, you can see these drawings after I clean them. So, King Kamishiro says, amazing snail girl. King Kamishiro says, don't believe the hype about the cool weather in Oregon State. It was 100 Fahrenheit for 3 days straight. Yeah, it was like that all over the world. Here too. It's a sweltering summer. Blake Richardson says, I wish I had a big snail. Well, say your last regards to Snail Girl because I'm just going to push the button. The tablet is called I Think. It's a generic brand. It's literally like $4. I think they're called toddler tablets or basic LCD tablets. So yeah, there's just one button. It erases things, and you can actually even draw on them with your fingers like so. I love this little thing. Stupid Old Tomorrow's fan says you should name the girl Margaret. Is that the name of your crush? King Kamishiro says, our state government isn't prepared for hot summers, and a couple of years ago we had to evacuate. Kotobuki says, there's a website called Magma where people can draw collaboratively. I have used it with 2 random friends from Twitter before, intermittently. Magma, it's a great fun website. Maybe we could have like a Magma draw together event one day. The thing is, I really enjoy hanging out with everybody, but when everybody draws a big messy thing, nobody gets to shine. But maybe we can do a like draw together thing someday, somehow. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. Bob Newman says, all tomorrows inspired the heck out of me after reading it. I had a dream I was one of the lizard herders looking into a pool. Nice. By the way, I'm just going to drop the hint now. I have recently signed a deal with a big international publisher, and you're hearing it here for the first time. But All Tomorrows, the original All Tomorrows, is, if everything goes right, within a year, coming out as a very nice prestige print book in the English language, available all over the Western English-speaking world. UK, USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, probably Europe. It's such a lovely thing that happened. I will announce it more. I'm just dropping hints now. There will be a pre-order phase when everything goes, like when everything is set, there will be a pre-order phase where the publisher will collect pre-order donations, and then everybody donating will receive their copy of the book. But it's this thing they need to kickstart the production process. It is called Unbound, by the way, Unbound Books. They published part of, it's a very nice legacy publisher. They published part of who was the guy who wrote the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Douglas Adams. Douglas Adams Literary Estate. So it's a nice, and it took me a while to put that deal to make it come to life. So I'm very happy. And I'm very thankful to everybody who believed in me on the way. Couldn't have done it without you. Everybody's happy. Great Guardian says, wow. Hadian says, congratulations. Kotobuki says, wow. Kotobuki says, no way, no way. Well, you are going to get the physical book. Thank you, King Kamishiro. Thank you, Madbak. Thank you, Bob Newman. Rakon, I'm getting it. Kapo Void says, congrats, I'm getting it. Kotobuki says, I'm so pre-ordering. Okay. Thank you. Pepular says, wow. Gaming Center Salisbury says, in a James Bond villain sort of tone, Mr. Kozman, we meet again. And a physical Snayad book is also coming. Maybe. Mikin says, your younger self must be proud. Yes. It's this little shitty fantasy I wrote when I was 19. Who gets to get their 19-year-old dreams? Some of you may not be too much older than 19-year-old, but it's really an amazing thing when you have a dream when you're that young and it comes true, and it comes true, and it also becomes reasonably famous. So that's great. So somebody wrote about being a lizard herder and looking at their reflection. And this is based on that, although there's no lizard to be seen. By the way, the All Tomorrow's Redux project is also going on full stream. There will be another, it's going to be like the Evangelion rebuilds. So there's going to be another much more comprehensive All Tomorrows also coming up. And that's also in the works. Snayad is getting its own big book. In fact, if you've been following me on Patreon, go donate to me $1 amount on Patreon, and you can see some of the scans from literally like every week. I make a new Snayad drawing. The secret is I don't get to show it, because if I show it to everyone, I lose the dopamine rush, I lose the impetus. But sometimes I release previews on Patreon. I have to. And last year in 2023, I completed a little over 120 new creature drawings. I had them all scanned last month, and they're now in Patreon. Some of them are in Patreon for people to see. The great majority of those Snayad drawings are still being processed. Oh, everybody's really happy. Well, I'm really happy too. Mikin says, let this be a motivation for all of us to finish our projects. I never want to sound like authoritative, but it really is like if when you finish your first project cover to cover and you release it, then the next one is really easier. But sometimes you can languish or lose interest or get ADHD stuff. In this age of smart tablets and smartphones, it's not easy, but yeah, that's. Let me photograph this first. Rial Okaner says, hello. Hi. Hi, my friend. Kotobuki says, Mr. Kozman's art has pushed me back into dreams and ambitions about my own works. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't have gotten back, at least not as passionately. Thank you. I'm really happy. I mean, what can I say? Gaming Center Salisbury. I'm the guy who sent you the CM Cosman United Nations portrait. Yeah, okay. I remember. It was nice. Thank you. Okay, so boom. This goes away again. Just reading some messages and shit. Worldwide Hope says, no, it's gone with one touch. Well, it's not because I took a photo. Life flies away just like that. Yes, scary but true. Trash Panda. I think you're a first-time commenter. Thank you. Congrats on the book news. Very exciting. Maybe it will be a great gift from my brother, who is the reason I became a fan of you. Well, my love to the whole family. Just Don't says, how does it feel to know you affected so many other people's art and creations? It's very humbling. It's like when things go south or I feel down, I think about that and makes me feel happy. At least I got one thing in the bag, you know? Mr. Kozman, do you ever draw whales, says Kotobuki? Yeah. Let's try to draw a bottlenose whale. One of the weird beaked whale kind of things. They're really easy to draw. There really are really weird whales that kind of look like this, but yeah, it's only my unreferenced thing. This thing is really nice. I mean, look, imagine you want to make a big creature and I don't know, like you can just draw very random details, okay? Something like this. And then, well, I'm going to cheat a little. I'm too lazy to photograph this and edit this on Photoshop and stuff anymore. But then you can look at these doodles and you can make something more meaningful out of them. Gaming Center Salisbury says, we need an all tomorrow's body pillow collection as soon as possible. Well, maybe one day. So now look at this thing, okay? And I'm just going to draw a very small sketch based on it. There's this lump-like thing over here. Something going down. And these things like spokes or rays coming out of the quote unquote tail, curves back again. Something like a skid or a wheel here. Okay. Okay. We have this dip here again, and then something long, like the bent of a limb. You see this thing shaping up here? Now, let us, so now I can just throw this thing away. Now let us move closer. This is the ground shadow line. It looks like one of those Darwin 4 creatures that from Expedition, Wayne Barlow's Expedition. Riz Rimzare says, Sup chat, hello. Great Guardian says, I kind of see a goat-like animal. KS says, nice signature. Okay. So now I got this thing down. I can then move in with something lighter, some thinner pencil or pen. Pepular says, will there be a British girl with spectacles added in there? No, why should there be? Oh, by the way, I have guilty pleasures like all of you, and I have been watching this shitty internet drama show called Fish Tank. It's like Jersey Shore with neurodivergence, and there's this one insane girl there called Summer, and I just like half of the other day I spent listening to shit talking podcasts about this show and that character, and you don't want to be there. It's how is the summer heat in Turkey, Mr. Kozman? It's very hot and humid. I'm praying for rain. I think our friends living in the Turkish capital, Ankara, are getting some rain at the moment as we speak. I hope we get as lucky as they are. Blake Richardson says, this reminds me of the Thornback from the Darwin 4 book, the Expedition book. Every Spec Evo fan's favorite book. Gaming Center Salisbury says, are Turkish airports still chaotic? I would not say so. I mean, compared to some of the shit I've seen in US and UK airports, Turkish airports are not that bad. Worldwide Hope says, Eskişehir got some rain yesterday. It was so good and chill. I wish I was still there. Yeah, I love this Turkish city. It's called Eskişehir. Every now and then I go there, sometimes for like university talks and visits. All other times to meet my fans and friends who live there. There's a big university there specializing in visual arts and game design education. So a lot of young people who really value my works also live and study there. And sometimes I just get away from the big city, spend one night there. It's nice. Oh my God, it's Lady Spookaria, Australian follower. Hello, CM Kozeman. Happy to catch a stream. Well, happy to have you here. Also, I think next week, me and Lady Spookaria, I'm going to be a guest on Lady Spookaria's stream, actually. So really looking forward to that. Just Dawn says, do you still do university talks? I think I used to do many more before COVID when university clubs had way more in terms of budgets. And I have a big talk. It's called Four Ages of Spirit Art. You can also find it on YouTube. And it was either that or some other talks. I would go from like university to university in Turkey, mostly in Ankara and Eskişehir. And these university clubs had budgets to pay for my train tickets, budgets to pay for my hotel stay there for one night. And it was just a wonderful phase. I even went to talks at museums. And I think recently I did a university talk in a European college. And well, that was really nice. I think this was a few months ago. So what was I saying? Yeah. So, but after COVID, all of this changed. There's also an economical meltdown going on all over the place. So they don't have that many budgets. And after COVID, a lot of university life IRL stuff became online. So people don't value real life events that much. I hope that can change. Also, you have to realize 4 years passed. So an entire class graduated post COVID, and looks like certain patterns, certain new trends in organizations and stuff, they're like locked in now. So I don't know. Gaming Center Salisbury says, how much wolf DNA do you have inside of you? Mm-hmm. Just a second. Just checking some messages and stuff. Okay, I was asked about wolf DNA. I actually recently took, well, 5 years ago, I took a DNA test, and the results were, I mean, it was something we all knew in my family, but just a second. The results were, I'm actually trying to find the results. God damn it. Well, this all comes down to, I think, wolf DNA thing comes down to this Turkish nationalist claim about the gray wolf and this wolf gesture. It ruffled a few feathers in those European soccer matches. The Europeans, I think, oversensitively interpret that as a racist or irredentist display. But I think it's also a sign of just patriotism. I mean, and it's a soccer match. I mean, if you're not going to wave flags there, where are you going to wave them? I mean, it's just a sign. It doesn't hurt nobody. And me making this is going to sound more interesting now after you see my DNA results. So here it is. This is something, I mean, it's no big secret of mine. I am partially a descendant of ethnic Jews. So Ashkenazi and Sephardic. And there are a number of people like that in Turkey. And I'm not going to go into too much detail about this, but yeah, the Ashkenazi trace is really visible here. Eastern Europe 16%. Sephardic, solid 14% all the way from Spain. The rest is some like mongrel Mediterranean stuff from Southeast Europe. Actually, most of my ancestry comes from there. And a paltry 13% from Asia Minor. So if you only look in terms of genetics, I'm one of the least qualified people to make this sign, but it's just a sign. You're a hell of a creature, Sir Cosman. Yes. But I always say, ne mutlu Türk'üm diyene. Yeah, it's like, and how happy to say I am Turkish. I have been born, bred here. I mean, especially many educated shithead Turkish people, they like to go, we're born in the wrong country. We are oppressed here. This is the country. I hate this one. This is the land of those who want to kill us, they say. I mean, you say that as if the alternative is to end up like Sweden or Norway or whatever. No, motherfucker. The alternative is to end up broken, resigned, soulless, sad. Like you take one trip in the former Yugoslavia, you see what they would have made out of you. It's an imperfect country. It's a benign autocracy, but the alternative is never. Oh, if it wasn't for these backwards people and the nationalists, we would have been so far more civilized. Get the hell out of here. You would have been dead, dispersed. So, anyways, I don't want to go too far ahead with this, but as long as I hold a Turkish passport, my political views are going to be centered, focused on this part of the world staying together as a single country. And believe me, there's lots to be thankful. There's lots to critique, but there's also a lot of things to be thankful for. And I'm talking to the general Turkish coded audience, but if you've been around the world, you would see that many problems Turkey has, the rest of the world has them too. Maybe not as intensely, but I mean, if you don't like the politics here, whoo, daddy! You look at the US of A, the way they're snowballing towards a strongman ruler, it's just like Turkish politics 20 years ago. It feels like a flashback. It feels like a deja freaking vu. Kotobuki says, come to New Jersey, we have water. Yes. Blake Christensen says, I am not excited for next year. Well, look, I'm just glad I don't have to make that choice. I think you're just going to have to hold your nose and, vote for the lesser evil, I guess. Gaming Center says Turkey is goated. Just Don't says, I feel people have much more important things to rage about, but instead they are discussing these hand gestures. Well, yes, true. Gaming Center says, my first cable car ride and my first cave visit was in Turkey in the same day. Groove Street Guy says, lower the camera. I am wearing shorts. No such luck. Come to Texas, says Bob Newman. We got 2 foot long chili dogs and hard apple cider. Yes. I've been thinking about, like, I had this freaking dream to settle in the US. I even applied for the green card diversity lottery last year. Surprised didn't get it, but if I'd gotten it, my rule would be like a city, but a small city. And no force on earth could make me live in Los Angeles or New York or San Francisco. I hate those 3 cities with a passion. Would be a smaller place. I don't know, like Cincinnati or Minneapolis, something like that. Can you apply for a green card again? Yes, every year this lottery is held, and every year hope rises again. Though hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Oh, let me share my. LA is hell on earth, says yes. I don't know. My dream was always like getting a small car. You can actually buy cars, afford to buy cars. You'd be surprised. Buying cars is a really tough, really tough thing to do for a lot of people all over the world. Get a small car, you know, put my plastic containers and stuff in the back, drive around, go to a cafe, work from there, have a small house full of books and art. But dreams like this keep one alive. But now, with the international publication of All Tomorrows coming up, at least I'm one step closer to traveling. Maybe there will be book signing events and sci-fi expos and stuff. So yes. Bob Newman says, just marry my mom. You get a green card and I get a dad. It's a win-win. Even stuff like that is really hard. They really check. They really check hard to make sure it's not a marriage of convenience and stuff. All over the world. I think we're due for, I think like the world is due for something like a world war, to be honest. There's no way out of this economic and generational debacle. So it's like two people. Imagine going swimming in very early spring and the water is like ice freaking cold. And you want to see who goes first. And nobody wants to jump the first. So everybody's waiting for the other party to take the plunge. The scary thing is, I think it will be to most governments' advantage and to the advantage of the multinational companies and power interests that bankroll them to lose a lot of people. And they're just going to wait. And nothing like a war to get economies to produce real value again, as opposed to stocks, semantic stock form. So yeah, I think something like that is on the horizon. It will probably take a shape and form that we haven't seen before in world history, thanks to the way media works now and telecommunications work now. It will not be like lines of soldiers marching, rup, 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 and like tanks going. Maybe you could argue we are in the middle of it already. A small car is not the American way, says Gnome's child. You must drive an 8 foot tall truck. Yeah, one of those new shit trucks that I would like to drive like a based solid Toyota without any digital shit in it. I hate this thing with a passion. A car has no business being a computer. And when I am in the States, let's manifest this shit. When I'm in the States, I would buy a second hand, one of those last robust things, 2008, 2006, Toyota pickup truck. No computers, no fucking sat navs. I hate sat navs too. I think all sat navs should be okay. Look, I won't be too hyperbolic, but you probably know this is my phone. I hate smartphones, okay? I hate them with a passion. And I hate smartphones with a passion. When I want to go somewhere, I don't know, I either go to Google Earth, memorize the place, and drive after. If it's really complicated, I print a little map. If I'm really lost, I don't care. I just stop somewhere and ask people. You should try it. The 2003 Tacoma. Okay, let's look at this. Oh. I could see myself driving something like this, but it has to be, I don't know, green, or I like the white color too. So okay, this is okay. Let me put together a collection of cars I would like to drive. So I will also show you the current car. It's my parents' old car, but that's what I'm driving around, and it's never let me down. So I'll show the car that I am driving around these days, and also to show you what I would like to drive if or when I move to the States. Just a second. I'm just disassociating now. Trying to remember, actually. Okay, are you ready? Where is it? All right. Phone leaked. Yeah. Okay. Just a second. I'm just trying to arrange the images so we don't get a whoosh moment here. Oh, for fuck's sake. Absent Fish says, I have to go now. Hope to see you all sometime later. Goodbye, my dear friend. Kotobuki says, you are someone who makes me believe my dreams can come true. Why can't yours? I would love to see you go great lengths. Thank you. Hopefully I don't have to marry anybody's mother to do that. Okay, so where were we? Yeah, dream cars. Okay. Are you ready? So this is the car I'm currently driving, the 2006 Volkswagen Golf. Mine actually has four gate doors, so yeah, it's a bit bigger. But this car is like super fuel efficient. It's very, very reliable. It can climb hills really well, which is something you need in this part of the world because there's no flat terrain. I would, in the States, either get a truck like this, which is nice and reliable and solid, or like something like the 2003 Oldsmobile. I like these like smooth X-Files car. Yeah, I would totally roll up in one of these. Oldsmobile is a really reliable US car brand, by the way. So yeah, that would be my ride. Have you ever thought of living in a car or an RV, says Kotobuki? I actually have a series of podcasts on this channel about improvised spec evo trips, and one of those podcasts is about basically how to operate out of a car and like go on a big travel adventure at low cost. It's doable, but I don't envy it. Like I like having a roof over my head. But if it's for like 4 months, let's say I can never maybe get citizenship or a green card, but for some miracle, through some miracle, I got a green card. No, sorry, through some miracle, I got a tourist visa again, and then I could see myself maybe for 3 4 months just hanging around. But I would need to have a mission. I mean, maybe the mission would be to secure a book deal or secure a film deal. I don't want to hang around do nothing. So yeah. Bob Newman says, my family is patriotic. You will be wearing a Lone Star belt buckle the moment you get there. That's okay. I mean, if I was an American, I would be slightly patriotic too. Look, guys, wherever you live, it's better for the country to exist and for the people to have cohesion than not. Blue Arcanist says you should get a Fiat Doblo. Okay, so I'm gonna go on a little rant here. The Fiat Doblo is a great vehicle. Okay, just a second. Where is it? Uh, I'm gonna go on a little rant here. The Fiat Doblo, okay, is a lovely vehicle. It looks like this. It's a vehicle, but good thing about this thing is if you own a small business, you could use it as a work vehicle during the week, and in the weekend you could go out with your family. You could use it as a personal automobile. And in Turkey, this car has a bad rap among people who have college degrees, but I'm afraid to say otherwise, who are dangerously stupid. They associate this with the conservatives who vote for the bad autocratic government. Ah, Fiat Doblo, Doblo, you're one of the Doblo people. I think it's the most crass, okay, most deluded form of class elitism doesn't go anywhere. People who drive these cars probably built your house, probably farmed the food you put on your plate that night. When something breaks down in your house, you probably call them to fix it. Okay? They come probably in their Fiat Doblos. So, what is funny about it's a cheap vehicle, it's effective. What is funny about if I wasn't lucky enough that my parents hadn't gifted me this car, the other car I showed you, I would have bought one of these. This is my telephone. What is funny about the Fiat Doblo? Who is the butt of the joke here? Just think about it. This contempt that educated people have for working class people, and they fixate on a little detail about their lives, use it as laughing stock. Don't be mad then when these people vote in somebody who's out to destroy you, because you would have warranted that destruction. Okay, that's that. Yeah, don't hate on the Doblo. Try driving one, actually. This is a local thing, but like when you make these jokes in front of an international audience, you come across as the vainest person. Okay, that's that. Let us have our thoughts to burnish and not an axe to sharpen. Okay. Most working class cars are unironically goated. Yes. Goodbye, stupid All Tomorrows fan. Just call yourself All Tomorrows fan, man. Don't call yourself stupid. Blue Arcanist says, my grandpa has a Fiat Doblo. It's very effective. Yeah, you see? Character development. Okay, let's keep drawing. It's been an hour and 15 minutes, by the way. Wow. Time flies when you're having fun. We had a comment saying, I missed your Patreon Q&A sessions. Yes, I will do more of those. Right now, I'm in the middle of recording a series of deep time spec evo speculations with my good friend TK Sivgin. And when that is over, I actually have a lot of questions saved over from the last round of Patreon Q&As. So I will definitely start to answer them. They have been building up for a year. Yeah, and if you haven't, please go to TK Sivgin's channel and give him a follow. Okay, let's share the drawing now. Let's add some color to this guy. TK Sivgin is a really smart guy. He's really he really knows his stuff well. You should follow his blog too. It's called manospondylus.blogspot.com. Roxumi says, since you use Turkey as a influence for a lot of since Turkey influences a lot of your art, would that change if you move to America? I don't think so. I mean, ideally, I would be able to travel, maybe half a year there, or I don't know. I also had 40 years growing up here, and so that's not going to go away wherever I go. And there are ways to be inspired from America too. What a stream, huh? We talked about my hidden ancestry, my cars. I got angry for a bit. I showed you my isopods and shit. What a nice stream. When I do these streams twice a week or something, it really feels a bit burnouty. But like once a month or something, it's really, really, really revitalizing and energizing. You looked a millipede. Yes, yes. Bob Newman says, why did the Kuhanim make the lizard herders in All Tomorrows look like regular humans? For the simple reason that the artist just wanted to draw a human being with giant lizards. That's all. Remember, a lot of those pictures came first, and then I wrote the story around them. Surprising how well that worked. Mert Günhan says, Blue Arcanist comments. Mert Günhan, he's a Turkish YouTube streamer, an online personality, said he's going to make a podcast with you in a live stream. What about it? Yes, he actually wrote to me a couple of months ago, 1 month ago or a bit more. And he says he wants to do something. And I said, okay, let's do it. And I'm waiting to hear from him. He's I normally never make Turkish content myself, but when I'm a guest in other people's shows, if they invite me, I oblige them. Beep, 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 beep. Blake Richardson says, this stream made my day much better. Thank you. Less IRR says, have you ever had sleeping problems in your life? Not chronically. Although, of course, like everybody else, I have hard days. Sometimes really tough shit happens. I mean, deaths in the family, or um, my father had to have some medical operations and stuff. Like when that happens, usually I don't sleep that night because my brain is just too busy. But it happens like once or twice a year. I mean, I suffer like anybody else. This is a bit like what you see here is a bit of a persona. Of course, everybody hurts. But I have suffered as a child a lot of shit. I mean, there was a great earthquake in Turkey, and my paternal grandmother died there, and then lots of other deaths and stuff in the family. So it's I kind of decided then that I was gonna tackle life head first. You worry about a lot of things, but none of those come true. Instead, you get fucked by a completely surprising new angle that you hadn't even considered. So once you get that, once you understand that, you can be more carefree. There's even a song in Turkish. Gamsız yaşarım, eğlenirim. It goes, I live without a woe, I have fun. Many comments. How many people watching? 34 people. Thank you. Kotobuki says, every stream of yours revitalizes me. I am glad my plans got canceled, so I made it here on time. Thank you. Kotobuki says hi. Hayaon Kim says hi. Pluto says bird. Digital Banyo says it would be too freaking cool if you did a real live stream with Mert Günhan. I agree. Gaming Center Salisbury says the most unrealistic part of Snayat is Turkey, Greece, Cyprus, and Israel uniting. I agree. I mean, that was written at a more optimistic time in the early 2000s, and it looked like Turkey was going to join the European Union, and maybe the world would be finally at peace and stuff. But yeah, actually, in the Snayat reboot now, there's still like a unification around geographical blocks, but I don't. This time, there's nothing about which country unites with which, because yeah, that shit can change really fast. And also, the new Snayat history goes well. In the old Snayat history, it was like, so we are here today, okay, and then there's this lovely time where all countries unite, and there are some blocks, and they go to space and they colonize other planets. Now, in the new Snayat book, we are still here. There's a lot of grim shit happening here. And then a long time later, there's another. So today's Israelis or Turks or Greeks in this future are going to be like the names of lost Germanic tribes. You know, I mean, they were there, but who remembers them by name? So that kind of future comes about. And then something secret happens, and then people colonize planets. Pixel Platypus says, as a Greek, Cyprus is never going to happen. Yes, sadly, I see it that way too. It looked like there was going to be reunification in the mid 2000s, but that didn't happen. There are reasons for it. Ksero Ligo Elenika. I know a little Greek. I used to have a very long-term Greek girlfriend an age ago. I've lived in Athens and Salonika for months on end. Beautiful part of the world. But it's their own thing. Turkey's their own thing. Polyps Conglomeration says, am I the only one who thinks the United States will last at least for another couple of centuries? I agree. I mean, there's a horrible crisis of leadership. And look, the biggest problem in the United States is twofold. One is, you either say, you gotta be you gotta be left wing and for state stuff, okay? So this is left wing, and let's say you're like communist stuff or whatever, or you gotta be right wing and you're for like, I don't know what's a right wing symbol. You're for like private enterprise and stuff like this. So it's a private man being happy here, okay? What they don't see is that the state is holding hands with the strongest private enterprises there are, these vast multinational companies. They're joined together at the flesh like some weird sort of creature, and they're bearing down on people who pretend they have a choice. This thing must be destroyed. This technologically mediated vast union of powers, this vast collusion of powers between government and private interests. I mean, as an advertiser, I have been, it's not an American problem. As an advertiser, I've been in meetings with insurance companies, and I've heard like board members saying, oh, the biggest obstacle to growth is trust among societies for like, and it was just some shit meeting to sell auto insurance. And weirdly enough, like international insurance companies cannot make headway in Turkey because everybody knows a guy who can fix the stuff. There's a fight between YJ and Just Don't about Israel and ethnic cleansing. Look, guys, this is one area I don't go into. Please don't fight about this, okay? What can we do? It's a problem. It's something we can, the 31 of us weird people cannot sort this out. If you have grievances, if you want to fight somebody, do it privately, but not on the chat. And of course, this is a very divisive issue. So, anyways, this is the biggest problem affecting the US now. And this is why it looks like your leaders are stupid or inept, but actually, they're just the driver on the train. And the railroad has been laid already. So there's that. But America is a vast country. It's bigger than Europe, I think. Still relatively underpopulated, many natural resources. I can't really begin to imagine what would happen if the common people really find a way to enjoy and control all that wealth and all those resources again. So that's why I think, despite the crisis of leadership, look, even at its worst, the US has some great things going for it. Like, that's why a lot of people want to move there, and yeah. And you got a lot going for you. Your health insurance sucks, but okay, what can you do? So that's why I think the United States will last for a long, long time. It will be, maybe it won't be as big a player in the world scene, but even as an isolated country, it can really persist for a long, long time. I don't think anybody can invade it. And this whole fear they have about replacement and population demographic change is just bullshit. When people move into cities, when people move into urban life, when people have amenities and things, they realize, oh, wait a minute, I don't want to take care of a screaming baby anymore. So they stop reproducing. And all these white Nationalist type says, oh, we're going to collapse in populations. No, it's going to decrease a little. There's going to hit a plateau. It's going to stabilize. Don't you worry. Nature has a way of keeping order. What are Milady Class says, what are your thoughts on Canada? I don't know, it's a nice place, I guess. I mean, I could leave the part of the world I am living in for a life in the United States. I could maybe even consider it for a life in the United Kingdom. But I mean, I would not consider it for Canada. I would not consider it for Australia. I would not consider it for New Zealand. I mean, it's just too much to give up, and you have to get something back in return, you know? But I got a lot of great Canadian friends. I got one of the biggest collectors of my works is from Canada. It's a lovely country. What can I say? Once again, severely underhabited. Vast expanse. Gaming Center Salisbury says, did the Snail colonists bring terrestrial animals with them? I actually remember, I don't have it with me now, but I made a list of what animals they brought, and they got lots of. Yeah. They have lots of bacteria that can synthesize different foods like yogurt stuff, but they also have certain big animals like they got a kind of pigeons. They got a few breeds of pigeons and other birds they can use for food or as pets or even for their feathers or to make guano. They have pet insects they use to culture protein. I think they have hogs, they have goats, stuff like that. Probably chickens. Milady Class, what do you mean by having to give something up in order? Look, I mean, what I mean is if I move from here to any other country, I would give up a lot of things I love about Turkey. I would have to give up the Fiat Doblo cars. I would have to give up the amazing food. I would have to give up just the kind of life here where you don't have to make a schedule. The cities are actually very humanely designed. They're a bit chaotic, but when you're in them, I mean, we have had these. I mean, Turkish cities, Mediterranean cities, actually, in general, are like those 15-minute cities that you dream about now. You don't need a car. You can just walk around the whole day, do your things. It's a very laid back lifestyle. So imagine giving that up. There has to be something good in return. And it would, I mean, for me personally, it would have to be the limitless possibilities offered by the United States. If I was born a Canadian, I would probably like it there. But the climate and the midness, not for me. An hour and a half, everybody. Oh. Let's check some messages and shit. Bu gece Çamlarda kalsak ne olur? Ne 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 ne. Milady class says makes sense. I mean, I hope you understand. It's not a bad place. It's just that if there was like, heaven forbid, like an enormous war and like cities were destroyed and like it's like that film The Pianist and stuff. And yeah, if I could seek asylum in Canada, then I would go, but as a broken person. Gaming Center Salisbury says it would be funny in real life if a lighthouse keeper's cat drove an entire species to extinction. Well, that's why I don't think they have cats. But there's going to be a few cases like that, but the whole like ecocide interaction is not going to be as strong in Snayad because the focus is on the animals themselves. And it's just going to, I mean, you're just going to have to accept it that the two planets' ecosystems are incompatible. You could still have earth plants grow on Snayad soil, but because of the sun's wavelength difference, they can't compete well with the local plants. You misread my message, says Gaming Center Salisbury. Which message? The lighthouse keeper's cat. Or did you? Man, you're pulling this James Bond villain stuff on me. Look, it's like 1 a.m. here. I'm just, I had a long day. Let's try this. I got this really nice pen. Where is it? Where is it? And while I'm looking for my magic new pen, please recommend me songs to sing to you. I got a lot of brush pens, including this thing, that thing. Good thing about brush pens is, well, this is a nice one. You squeeze it, and then it's just like pure calligraphy. In fact, there's a way to cheat at this though. You get your little spray, you spray the paper first so it's a bit wet. That way the brush glides easily over the moist paper. Evlerinin önü Söğüt bağıdır. Aman. So now you can go in with the watercolors to fill in the blanks. Yeah, look, I'm sleepy. I'm reverting to basic patterns stored in my male monkey brain, okay? There must be a way to make this more stylish so it doesn't look like a stripper or something. So why don't we take the other brush pen now? Give this character some wings. Give it giant mantis size. Nah, come on, just crass. That's crass. So the thing with the brush markers, you make a lot of weird lines, but these are actually cells. You can color counterintuitively with different shades. Doesn't matter if they're real. And this gives your drawing a really nice sense of motion. Sunspot by Comtruse has an interesting feeling. Oh, it's one of those new retro wave songs, right? I like those sometimes. Blake Richardson says, bye bye, Mr. Kozman. Have a wonderful night. Thank you. You too. Gavin Tidwell asks, did you ever draw any silicone based life forms? Yes, if you go to my website and look around, there's an old book of my sketches, and there are entire spreads dedicated to silicone based life in there. It's a trope to picture silicone based life as like robotic things or creatures that look like glass. But in reality, I think molecules are so small that even if it's based on a completely different element, alien life would look organic and flesh like because, well, biological molecules are so complicated. You zoom out enough, and everything looks similar. Yeah, YJ says exactly. We are made out of carbon, yet our bodies don't look like graphite and diamond. So, exactly. Groove Street guy, I think a first time commenter, says, how long do you plan to stream today? I think I'm gonna go to sleep. Go to sleep in 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I'm tired. This came out. It's fancy. Like a Griffon lady, or like when the watercolor dries. Let me show it to you on the good camera. It's a nice, colorful thing. Would look nice framed, huh? I actually have some filler paint here. Wait. I got like some leftover acrylic paints here. It's rough, greenish brown color. They say you're never meant to mix acrylics with watercolors. So you can use watercolors together with gouache. They're pretty much the same thing. Gouache is basically like watercolors that you can move around after applying, and it's kind of more heavy bodied. But acrylics is basically glue with plastic particles in it. And when it sets, it really solid cakes things up. So if you have the brush soaked in acrylics and you accidentally touch the watercolor tablet, and then that thing dries, you may not be able to unfreeze your watercolors again. That's a risk. But as long as you avoid that, it's actually not that bad. Especially if you're using everything in a more diluted, and that's how I use my acrylics, at least for this painting. If you dilute everything, they can even bleed into each other on the paper, which makes them really create some really nice and like artsy effects. But just be careful, don't touch the tablets of watercolor after touching the acrylics. As long as you do that, you're safe. So it looks like the body is diseased. Also, let's give some eyes on the wing here. Notice you can do a lot with this thing. And then when this dries, it's gonna be dry, fully dry by tomorrow. So I'm not gonna do it now. But when this dries, you can add another layer of watercolors. But you can't really do the whole layering thing with acrylics. Well, you can actually. But watercolors really have this like magic, like they glow inside themselves. I can't really tell you. You know it when you do that, but Polyps Conglomeration says, I got to get going now. Thanks for making my 18th. Well, you turn 18, man. Happy birthday. Pluto says, Mr. Kozman will pay 5 different taxes when he flushes the toilet. I don't see the angle there, but okay. Rocksumi says, looks so cool. Milady Class says, looks pretty, thank you. Well, this is what it looks like now. You see the splatter with the acrylics, looks like pox on the body, which is cool. And the watercolor cells have this kind of harlequin type effect. Cadence Slinker says, hello. Milady Class says, what are your thoughts on digital art? I mean, I process all my art digitally, so I mean, remember these things we did earlier on the stream? And I scan them, and so the digital process is part of my art style. But if you work purely digital, I don't think it's as satisfying. It's always great to have something on the paper you can touch and hold. And I think in this day of AI art and AI art and just pervasive digital images, an actual image will always have more value and real value. Yep. One of my online friends joked about your name because it literally has the word semen in it. Well, yeah, you can't choose the name. I mean, if somebody's named Adam, he has the Turkish word for pussy in it. I don't make a big deal out of that. So, yeah. Pluto asks, have you tried to make 3D models? No, I suck at 3D modeling. If I look at those menus for those programs, Blender and stuff, oh, it's way over my head. But some online fans have made great 3D fan art of my stuff. One of them is I think there was a guy called Equietum on Twitter. Maybe he's still around. EQUIETUM. So he made a couple of 3D models based on my characters, and they were great. Hmm. Let's play some music before going to sleep, huh? Okay, so this is a classic Turkish song sang by Eftelya, a 1930s era Greek singer living in Turkey. Mikin asks, Equieto made models of your stuff where? Well, I think they were 2 years ago, so yeah. This song always. Oh god damn, here I am having an emotional moment to the music. And I think there's something with the YouTube algorithm that prevents it. Yeah, but it was really nice. Evlerinin önü lale bağıdır. Well, sorry about that. Milady Class asks, have you ever watched any independent online animations? I think I watched the Warhammer Astartes animation. That was really great. But other than that, I don't have time to pursue series like that. Roxumi says you're a good singer. Ah. Music is a whole other ball game. Writing music, singing. Everybody's a good singer in the shower. I wonder if there's a way to do this though. Oh well, this was the I'll just show it. Hmm. This was this was the song I was listening to. Deniz Kızı Eftalya. God damn, these are algorithm recommendations only I can get. Dağ olur meşelerde, folk song, Joseph Stalin'in English AI reconstruction, Piçoğlu Osman, another Turkish song, Barış Manço, a classic Turkish rock singer, Patsy Cline, I love Patsy Cline. Not for just a year. No. Not for just a day. Da-na-na-na. Not for just an hour. Da-na-na-na. Not for just a year. Always. Da-na-na-na. When are you going to stream together with Kai Senat? Meth, I don't know. This channel is always going to be a niche experience. Let's not delude ourselves. My works may be more popular, but this channel and this experience. Milady Class says, do you play video games? And the answer, sadly, is almost never. Last game I really played was Spore, I think. But this is my personal view, and you don't have to share it. In fact, I had an awakening of sorts when I went to, so 2 months ago, I went to the Turkish city of Eskişehir to meet up with my fans and friends. And then with a bunch of my fans who were there, we went to a cafe and we were talking about all tomorrows and stuff. And suddenly the guys are like, sir, do you want to play some games? So I said, like, I'm not really good with gaming. Why don't you play and I'll just watch? So the guys like pull out this huge laptop from their backpack and plop it on the table. And they also pull out these controllers, like computer game controllers, and they just start playing like a modern version of Tekken or some sort of beat 'em up together, which is really funny. And I realized then that like gaming is a very casual and bonding thing for a lot of people in this new generation. But for me, to be honest, especially goal-oriented games or like competition-related games on the computer platform, for me, this is my personal view. I always felt like they were a waste of time. So that's why I also work like I also work 2.5 day jobs. I have my art, I have my projects, I have my daily life chores and stuff. So I don't have time. I'm afraid I don't. I mean, I always used to think that video games are a kind of like narcotic, to be honest. I mean, I have memories of my younger brother who's like, he would come home from college or work or just flip on Star Wars Battlefront or something and 2 hours gone. You already work at a slave job. Why don't you do something more productive? You don't have to like write a book or something, but just, I don't know. It's just not for me. Yeah. Hearts of Iron. Yeah. The most similar game I played to that was Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri. I really like that. I always played as the university faction. I was like 14, 15. I think this is a game I can make things, and I like that better. And Milady Class says, well, sounds like gaming isn't for you, and that is fine. Yeah, that's exactly the reaction I got from those younger friends. But it's become like a friendship enhancing thing. And where I left it off, gaming was just a lonely waste of time. But things have changed since then, I guess. Okay, 2 hours. I'm really tired. I'm knackered. So Pluto says 1,400 hours on Hearts of Iron, 1,320 hours on Europa Universalist, part-time acoustic. Those are some cool stats. Blake Richardson is back. Well, just in time to say goodbye. Any last questions or comments? And if anybody didn't say where they were from in the first roll call, please let me know. Kotobuki says, that was a great night painting. Rumi from Texas. Pixel Platypus says, best Star Wars planet. The planet where that Cantina alien was from, the one with the 4 eyes and the proboscis. They live in those giant flowers in an endless forest. I like that planet. Pixel Platypus from the UK. Gaming Center from Czechia. Milady Class from Pennsylvania, as you know. Coppervoid, ever thought about hosting a DTIYS challenge? I got no freaking idea what that means. I need to look it up. Wait. What the hell is a DTIS challenge? All I see is drawings of cute girls. Oh, it means draw this in your style. Okay. And apparently everybody is making people draw their girl characters in their style. Ah, not my thing. This was a great stream, everybody, says Mikin. And Gaming Center and Mikin are having a nice dialogue in Czech. Okay, everybody, this was great. I love hanging out with you. Thanks for your time, and wherever you are in the world, keep safe, keep hydrated. If you're listening to me later on the YouTube recording, please donate to me on Patreon or get me a coffee from Buy Me a Coffee. Look, all of you in the chat, if you had a great time, please go to buymeacoffee.com/cmkozman. Buy me a coffee. I had a great time hanging out with you. Imagine I took you out. I'm your like parasocial friend, and we're having coffee. Maybe you'd like to order me. So please think about it, especially those newcomers in the chat. Remember, these chats are free. I'm not doing super chats. I probably never will. This channel is not monetized. So I'd be very happy. And as Blake Richardson says, there are very cool stuff on my Patreon. Yeah, go check it out. All right, everybody. You got the I think pad. Boom. You're dead. Good night.